So then, when in Rome, you change the rally format up and you make sure that it's best prepared for the WRC debut next year. It was a very different rally to Roma Capitale to the one that we saw 12 months ago with a bunch of new stages. Let's talk about some of the headlines. And I think we start off with the winner, who has now won the ERC and WRC2 in Italy, Roberto Dapra. He's won on tarmac and on gravel in his home country. And it was a good weekend from Dapra. I mean, he's one of those people who has been up at the forefront of Rally 2 machinery for the last couple of years. It was just waiting for that breakthrough win, which happened last year in Sardinia. That one was one where it was, in order to finish first you have to finish. With this one, there was a little bit of that, but when Cronola went off on stage 7, the final stage of Saturday, he inherited a lead of 20 seconds, and he grew it up a little bit, and yeah, it did drop back down over the final couple of stages, but he just held on. He held on, and he took the win. That's what he needed to do. Well done to him on that as well, because it was a tricky event. When you look at the fact that you have 3 Italians in the top 4, it was very nearly 4 in the top 5 had it not been for the offer of Cronola. You end up with 4 in the top 8, however, thanks to Andrea Mabolini. It was an impressive run. A very worthy win. But we do have a clear championship leader now, arguably one who should have taken a clear lead after last time out in Royal Rally of Scandinavia had he not had an accident. Teemu Suninen is your new championship leader, second place here, and came in as the number 1 seed, comes out of it P2. Well done to Teemu, honestly. He's proven himself, after a year and a half out of rallying, to be as capable a driver as he was when he was stepping up to the WRC full-time for the first time. I mean, I do remember, however, that crash at the start of 2021 in Monte Carlo, but remember, up until that point, he was the fastest on the stage. And this is a kind of rebuild that you can see happen in the WRC and the ERC, in rallying just generally. I mean, look at Adrian Formeau, look at Elfyn Evans, look at Oyt Tanak. When you think about those kinds of names, Teemu Suninen more than fits the bill. He has the pace, he has the potential, and I hope he realises it in Rally 2 machinery, much like we're seeing in the WRC with the Rally 2 Fabia for Andreas Mikkelsen. Again. Elsewhere, when you look at the top finishers, they largely come from countries where having a good tarmac performance bodes well. Bosjan Avbel, who I have butchered the name, pronouncing the name, should I say, for the past 3 years. But I said in the pre-rally predictions he was one to watch. He had great pace. He was half a second off of P2. He ends up P3. Really well done. And it has been the Rally Roma Capitale where he's shown it the last couple of years. Hopefully we see that with his WRC2 next year as well. Giandomenico Basso is a veteran of the sport. In car 4, finishes P4. And well deserved, as always. It's a shame he doesn't get the podium. He's 3.2 off of the podium. But he's just relentlessly consistent. He is relentlessly fast. He was last year's winner, wasn't he? P5 rounded out by the lead Lancia, the first non-Skoda. Johan Bonato, who joked with Julian Porter about their ages at the end of the event. Lead Lancia, in a weekend that didn't go particularly well for the Italian manufacturer in the main ERC. You have 2 others in the top 10, yeah, Andrea Mabolini and Johan Russell. But at the same time, Nikolai Grosjean retires with what was described as mechanical issues. I think when you saw Lancia HF Corsa enter, 3 or 4 cars for the event, you would have expected a bit stronger a performance, especially for tarmac, but it is one of those teething issue years, and heck, we didn't even get a Toyota in the top 10 this time around. The only other non-Skoda was P7. That was Pablo Sarrazin. And that was the Citroen C3. So it shows the Stellantis still runs well. Elsewhere, I didn't mention Mille Johansson, P6. Well done to Mille Johansson, proving again that he is a star in ascendancy. Miko Marczyk, the reigning champion, P10. He's going to have to hope that the tarmac form picks up a little bit more. We do have some gravel bits, but Remember, even his native rally Poland were back on tarmac this time around. Who else do we have in the points? Marco Balaccia. Well done. Just consistent. And this is the thing, is you see like 2 or 3 separate packs. You have that pack for the lead. And then you have Bernardo by himself. And then you have the pack that is like, what? Johansson through Mabolini, separated by about 10 seconds. And then you have Rossell down to Campidelli, that's separated by about 15 seconds. The points order being rounded out by people who just had some bad luck here or there. Tempestini 13th, Crichton 14th, Black 15th. Let's talk about the other categories. ERC3 went down pretty much to the wire. Craig Ryhill ended up beating out Ville Vatanen for the win, and that is the same for the Fiesta Rally 3 trophy. Third place of the podium in the Rally 3 trophy was 4th place CJ Coleman. Lucas Zielinski puts a Clio on the podium for ERC3, however. When it came to ERC4, it's Davide Pesavento taking a win with the Lancia Ypsilon from Alexander Villiod. And then Timo Schultz in 3rd. 4th place was Simona Di Giovanni, and Carl-Peter Nordstrand was 5th. And I mention them because that means that we get to talk about the ERC Juniors, because it was Pesavento from Schultz from Nordstrand, with Tommaso Sandren and Tom Hendricks rounding out the top 5. So it was quite a blend when you have a look at that. But it was Lancia, Corsa, Lancia, Corsa, Lancia, Corsa. And then the rest of the top 10 were Ypsilons before the first couple of 208s. But let's wrap up by talking standings. Teemu Salonen on 48 points now. Gian Domenico Basso is on 45. So both of them only have point scores from round 1 and round 3 of this season. Same for Andrea Mabolini, by the way, in 3rd on 33 points. Dapra is in 4th on 30 points off the back of that win. And Jose Antonio Suarez, our round 1 winner in Rally Sierra Morena, is still 5th. Rico Heikela in 6th. Weirdly enough, 3rd rally in a row this year, the winner doesn't get any power stage points. Just 30 points for the win. Behind them is Martin Sesks, who has his 28 from Sweden. I believe he's scheduled to pop up a couple of other places, isn't he? Ivan Arez in 8th. Then Afbel is in 9th. And then P10 Kalle Karlberg ahead of, on countback, reigning European champion Mika Marcek. When you have a look at the ERC3, it is Ville Vatanen on 67, from Zielinski on 66, CJ Coleman on 62, and Ryhill on 54. When you look at ERC4, it's Sandrin on 54, from Schultz on 51, from Pesavento also on 51, and Hendricks on 37, ahead of Hakaleto, our winner from Sierra Morena. When you look at the juniors, it's a different story. Schultz on 54, Pesavento on 51, 41 for Hendricks, 34 for Sandrin, and Marcel Neulinger even. 28 points, P5. And with that, I think we talk teams. MRF lead the team standings on 89, Motorsport Ireland on 56, TRF on 51, tied with Lancia Corsa HF. And when we have a look at the tyre manufacturers, Pirelli lead on 142. They end up with the perfect score, more or less, this time around. Michelin second on 115. MRF third on 99. Hanke fourth on 94. I think if you look at the standings for this time around, I think that means that Hankook outscored MRF. I think that gap has gone down, whilst the gap that Michelin have over MRF and Pirelli have over Michelin has grown. So that's that for this video then, folks. As always, thanks for watching, thanks for joining, and thanks for your continued support. Let me know in the comment section, do you think this rally is ready for the WRC? I believe it is. These stages were interesting, and I hope we see some of the tests that we didn't see this year from previous years. So we have a bit of a Rally Germany thing, where we have a blend of these sort of more San Remo-esque stages, and some of the ones that were a bit more sort of what you'd expect from the old Rally Catalunya. But those are my thoughts. Till next time, as always, bye-bye for now.